I want to talk about Jamal Murray and his partner in Jokic and really just the Nuggets in general, right?
Jokic.
Yeah. Like if they were to capture this title, Antoine, are we talking about the team of the future? Are we talking about a team that I don't want to use the word dynasty, right?
Hell no.
Are we looking at the start of a dynasty right now?
Hell no.
No, honestly, and this not to take it, I think it's a one-hit wonder. I think it's
Whoa.
Yes.
Really?
Talk, Twan.
I think it's a one-hit wonder. That's just my personal opinion. I just think they have to continue to add pieces around it. I mean, I love the Joker's playing at an unbelievable level, but you got to continue to add pieces around this team for them to for that conversation to take place. I think this is a one-time thing. The West is tough. I think obviously teams are going to continue to get better in the West to compete against them, and it's going to be hard to see if they can get back there again. I think because now you're maxing out your top 4 or 5 guys. So how are you going to continue to build the bench around them and put pieces around them? That's to be the key for their success moving forward. Because you got to look at the Nuggets team. The Nuggets have a very, very good team. They're probably 10. They could probably go 10, 11 deep and get production on their team. That's what a lot of people don't talk about. They did a great job in the draft. They did a great job in free agency of adding pieces around Joker and Jamal Murray. So how is the ownership going to be willing to continue to spend money to make this happen? Because we see this happen a lot in basketball and sports in general, where the ownership does not actually kick in and make the team successful. Like Golden State has had to continue to put pieces around them because you pay 2 guys and it's not enough money to go around. So all those things, to me, plays a part in how good you're going to be moving forward. But I do believe it's a one-hit wonder. I just don't think they have enough to be good for the next 4 or 5 years.
Astrodamus is like, look, what's up? You good? You good? You straight?
I don't know if I can back that one, Twan. I feel like this is.
We'll see.
Who's the biggest competition in the West?
I feel like this is a team that reminds me a lot of the San Antonio Spurs in terms of the era of Ginobili, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker. They're not flashy. They're not a team that gets a lot of eyes during the regular season. They're not, the most fun to watch.
It's not bad.
Depending on, how you rank watching basketball. For me, I enjoy watching them because although they're not the flashiest, they play fundamental, just really good basketball. And
they play hard too.
I'm somebody who's a basketball purist. I don't need the dunks and the lights and I can just watch it like that. They remind me a lot of them. And I think that when that's your fundamental, it's hard to kind of count against that and say it's a one and done situation. I agree with Twan, though. I do think they're going to need to build around Jokic. They're going to need additional pieces. But I think that if you can keep Gordon, Murray, Jokic, those 3 guys
Gordon
together, and you can build around them and move those pieces accordingly, I don't know. I feel like this team can do it again.
Yeah, and
it may not be a back-to-back situation. It may not be a 2-peat type of situation. But I think that this team, if you can keep those 3 guys together and build around them, I think we'll see them again for sure.
Yeah, she's not. Go ahead, Woo.
I just got something real quick for you guys, and this is from BC. On Friday, the Denver Nuggets, in a rare trade by an NBA Finals participant, they actually have a 2024 first and second round pick and a 2023 second round pick in a deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder for a protected 2029 first round pick.
Damn.
So they're I feel like they are kind of building towards.
I'm telling you, I think that this, I don't know. Like, I don't like throwing that word dynasty around. I just feel like there's only a few of those in the NBA, but
they're not going nowhere no time soon.
They're not going anywhere anytime soon. I think that they're going to be a top dog in the West for many years. And I think that I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of series roll through Denver, and that's the course that teams have to take to get to the finals coming out the West. I just think that this is a really good basketball team with a ceiling that hasn't even been hit yet.
Twan, this Ashley's San Antonio Spurs comparison, does that change your thought a little bit? Because that was an excellent comparison. I don't know how she pulled that one and where she pulled it from. But
my head? Excellent. What the hell?
I ain't want to say how you pulled this out of the
Yeah, she could have heard somebody else say it before, but
oh my God!
No, I'm teasing. No, I'm teasing Ashley. No, I'm just teasing. No, that was an excellent point, and that actually opened my. That actually just it's an eyebrow raiser that make me start thinking. that they do got a kind of a San Antonio type team. When you think about what Tim Duncan, they got the big in the middle, who's the MVP, the big guy, and continue to put pieces around. But I never said Denver wasn't going to be not be in the mix for years to come. They got a great foundation that's already established, but they're going to have to continually add pieces around because they got some deficiencies.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So you get lucky sometimes, and not taking anything away from the Miami Heat, but they are playing the eighth seed in the Eastern Conference.
But they ran through everybody in the West team. They were the number one seed, or they had the best record all year. Ashley, is that true?
They were the top dog in the West the entire season, so number one.
Not East and West. They didn't have the best record all year.
No, I think actually an interesting stat was that because of how bad or how stretched out the West was, if Denver were in the East, they would have been like a third or fourth seed. So I don't think they had the best record in the NBA. I think that was either Milwaukee or Boston.
It was Milwaukee and Boston.
And Denver was third.
Listen. We talked about Jamal Murray. That's how we got to this. Sometimes when you go on runs like this, it gives you the confidence and the experience as a player to kind of ride that and take you to or elevate you to the next level. So as we're talking about Joker and, sustaining the success, Jamal Murray, I mean, this could be us seeing him enter his prime and enter into a mindset where he just believes and knows that, I am elite. I don't give a damn what Ashley's talking about, whether it's Ted or Brandon.
No, he doesn't care what Brandon's talking about, not Ashley.
What I'm saying is 10-3, whatever. I'm elite. I don't care about y'all numbers. I'm elite. And so when you think about this, you know what I'm saying, and how they're set up, this could be really interesting for years to come. My only question is, who is that guy, like that dog? Michael Jordan wants to win at everything. Kobe Bryant wants to win at everything. So is Joker going to do this year in and year out? Or is he going to relax? Or is he going to take his foot off the pedal once he hoists the trophy one time? No. Right? So who's that in the locker room? We know who it is as we go through all these other teams. Tom Brady was that, right? Mm-hmm. You go to even the Celtics. The Celtics, they had 2-3 people. Coach, I don't think Coach Bud is that guy. Coach Bud is excellent coach, very aggressive. Tough. You saw him a couple games ago where he called his team out from effort. That's good, right?
Who? Coach Malone.
Coach Malone. Sorry, I said Coach Bud. Coach Bud. Didn't he get fired from the Bucks?
Yeah, the Bucks. Yeah.
Right, Coach Malone.
Well, you gotta get hungry, B. To answer your question, can this group stay hungry? If they win this series against the Miami Heat, most of their guys I haven't looked at it, but most of their guys under contract. You're coming back next year with the same team. How many you want to get?
Right.
You know your mistakes. You just went through this journey. How many you want to get? They in position to do that. You know what I mean? Does Joker have to have another MVP season for us to get back to this point, or is the confidence rise? But
I don't think so.
Win it all,
and I think also, Brandon, not everybody. I think you don't always need that pit bull.
Yes, you do.
Hold on.
Yes, you do.
Hold on. Some teams can function in a different competitive space without that. Going back to the Spurs, Tim Duncan wasn't the loudest. He wasn't the most aggressive. He wasn't the get in your face and like, what are we going to do? He wasn't a PJ Tucker. But when he spoke, that locker room listened. Mm-hmm. On the court, when he said something, they listened. And I think Jokic has a lot of that energy about him. He doesn't have to be the loudest, but when he speaks, you listen. And when he asks something of you, you bring it because it's Jokic.
Right.
And I think it's that respect that they have for each other and that confidence. And remember, this is a team that has had a lot of time, at least the tandem of Jamal Murray and Jokic has had a lot of time to develop and grow with each other.
But let me respond to that.
It didn't happen overnight.
Let's go back to, let me respond to that. Let's go back to the Spurs. Tim Duncan had to just be, they just asked him to be Tim Duncan. And I do believe he had that competitive spirit, but it was from the top. In this situation, Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich was that dog, was that person.
Malone's their dog.
Is he?
Malone's the one who called them out and said, listen, you guys aren't doing it enough. You aren't doing enough for me.
Right.
Like, he comes from the New York Knicks coaching squad.
Was Malone? No, that was, I'm keep getting Malone and Bud mixed up. Which one came from the Spurs, Malone or Bud?
Well, Malone was part of the New York Knicks coaching squad back in the day.
Bud was the Spurs.
Bud was Spurs. But we got to remember, too, sometimes when we're looking at this run and we think what Denver could do, look around the league. It's wide open for them to have a run of possibly the next 3-4 years. The Lakers their best. LeBron is older.
He's
contemplating towards probably 1 year left. Then you got to think about Golden State. They got to get better. They're not going to be able to do it with the roster they got in place. They got to get a little bit stronger. You got to think of other top teams, Memphis in disarray with the whole Ja Morant situation. The Suns probably is the only team that probably got some intactness to it, where you think they got Kevin and obviously Devin Booker. So the West is wide open for them to make a run for the next 3-4 years to put themselves in position to get, if they get this title, to get multiple titles. They're in a great space right now, and they can continue. And they've locked up a couple of their players. Guys are under contract. You know how big free agency is going on in the summertime. You coming back with the same crew. It's open for them if they win this title to do it a couple times.
For sure.
Hey, guys, we didn't check in with the chat at all today. We are being so selfish. This is a great conversation. We got deep into conversation. Been a great show. Phenomenal topics. Great job, Corey. Sure. Love the flow today. But I feel like we've been so disrespectful. Woo, do we have anything happening in the chat today before we move forward? This is Ashley Nicole Moss, Antoine Walker, Mr. Shimmy himself. I don't know why. For years, I've been saying Mr. Shimmy.
Stop calling people by their first and last names.
I like the nickname.
You're such a fed.
Corey Holmes, Corey in the cut, Woo out west, BC in the booth, Mander legend. We got JP out in Cali. I don't know what he does during the show, but anything coming out, that's JP. He is our guy. All the content, Twitter, YouTube, JP. We got our graphic designer, Jazz. Jazz does a phenomenal job there. We just got a great team. And then part of that team is our squad. We got to come up with a name. Squad, team, for the chat.
Rowdyans.
Nah, you got to be like Rowdyans. Nah.
I don't like that one. I don't even know what that means.
That was a joke, guys.
Woo, what's going on in the chat today?
Honestly, the
updates?
chat is very active. Like, we have over 300, sometimes 400 watching live. And honestly, the chat's just been participating. They've been going back and forth, handling the questions, talking to each other. We also got JP in the chat. But right now, I mean.
Anything interesting?
Nothing big. Nothing too big.
Any Brandon Marshall slander? People like to hate me.
No, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy.
Okay.
I do have a nickname I just saw roll up. Brandon Fed Marshall.
Brandon.
Well, that's from Ashley.
Yeah.
Ashley just planted that
because
seed.
Brandon has this thing where he calls people by their first and last name, and that's just such an op-fed officer thing for someone to do. It's just so weird. He calls Stack Steven Jackson. Antoine's been on the show for over an hour. It's Antoine Walker. Can you just call people by their first name?
That's what traditional media do. That's what I'm trying to be.
No, it's weird.